There's a fat one.
What I like about this garden is that whenever you're weeding, it's very easy to weed. All you have to do is just pull it out, and it usually just comes out all the roots and everything. And we have friends where they had a garden, and it wasn't with wood chips or anything, and they tilled the soil and stuff, and it was really hard to pull their weeds out. You hardly could pull them out at all. And I think that's cool that I can pull the weeds out really easily.
I wish that all children could learn how to do a garden and teach their children when they get older. I like coming to the garden. I like coming to the garden too.
I like coming to the garden as well. We
like doing it together.
Bye!
I think that for the future, absolutely, the health benefits of eating what comes out of the garden is going to be immeasurable. But also, I think that times aren't going to get easier, they're going to get harder. And I really feel like the Lord has released this now, worldwide, wood chip gardening, in order to be able to provide for people that don't have the ability to do traditional gardening. They don't have the equipment, maybe they don't have the space, they don't have the understanding of how to do traditional gardening. And you can just lay down some wood chips this year, and if it turns out that it's 10 years down the road that you need to be able to grow your own food, like in the days of the Great Depression, then your garden is ready. And I really feel like that's a major aspect of the Lord releasing this at this time. He's released it in enough time for people to get things ready that they need to get ready. Don't have to be in a panic about it, but to be intentional about it and to do it.
Some of the spiritual lessons I think that we learned from doing the garden, or at least that I learned, was that God always speaks to you in the garden. It's amazing, the dialogue. And also being patient. The garden, I think, just teaches that amazingly. And to trust the Lord in the fullness of time. The fullness of time He brings forth His glory, His beauty. Fun lessons like the seeds, to trust, even when you're planting them. One of the first dialogues I felt like the Lord had with me with the seeds was that they might not all germinate, but you still plant and just trust Him. There was beauty in that for me, with even just the spiritual connection with that was we live our lives. We just plant, and He does the rest.
I think one of the main things that I've learned from the garden was that, we really did receive a seed from the Lord about wood chip gardening, the covering, and was very excited about it, and then wanted to just move on it quickly, and having to have patience to wait on His timing as to where it's going to be, how it's going to be, and then, things coming up. He plants the seeds, but the things come forth in His time. And He's put the seed in us with this, and things have come forth only in His time. You can't force it. And every time have tried to make something happen, like getting wood chips or getting a vehicle or equipment to move the wood chips, it's just, you have to wait on the Lord, because it's His time, and He made such an emphasis over that it became so clear that if you're working too hard, you've stepped out of His rest. So just let Him do it. He puts the seed, it'll come forth.
I always come back to, I love that statement of Jesus, "Come unto me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and come learn of me. My yoke is easy, my burden's light." And I find that if I'm doing something that's stressing me out and getting a lot of work, I'm realizing this is not God. This is not how He does things. And I just love my harvesting approaches. Whenever I get around to it, I do it. If I don't, it's all right. I have chickens that'll use it if it's gone too far. And the advantage of harvesting when stuff is fresh in season, you're getting the ultimate food value. I think it's interesting too how when God's explaining to us how He provides for us, He says, "Consider the birds of the field." It's how they don't toil, they don't sweat, and I provide for them. Are you not of more value than them? And then he says, "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." And we look at all through nature. Everything in nature is not pressured, not under stress, and they eat everything fresh in season. It's all there for them, and they do wonderful. Where us, the most sophisticated of all the creation, stress out and we don't eat good food and we buy all this processed stuff, and we're thinking like, God, Jesus is trying to get our attention. Consider them. Pay attention. This is how it's supposed to work, and I care a lot more for you. And it's just what I think is so sad is that God's made such an incredible provision for us. He's given us land. He's given us seed. He's given us, the sun, the rain. It's so easy to grow food, and it's so natural. It's what everybody's always done from the beginning of time until the Industrial Revolution. So we need to get back to the original and do it right.
Ever wonder what's this longing whispering at your heart for the thing that you were meant for, but you don't know where to start? Father, can you hear me? I'm listening to you now, and I'm ready to trust you, to lead and guide me somehow. The creator of the universe concerns himself with me. He's passionately revealing his culture of love and of peace to Eden. Eden is the place of freedom. To Eden. Eden is the place of freedom, yeah. Your yoke is easy and your burden is light. Help me to lean on you the rest of my life. To Eden. Eden is the place of freedom.
Apples, the enzymes that cause them to ripen don't happen until 7 to 10 days before they get ripe. So all the apples that you're buying in the store, they're picked green, and the enzymes aren't there. They just don't show up. They look nice, they have nice color because they did the nitrogen fix and it looks good, but the enzymes that cause them to digest are not present. And so when you eat that apple, your body has to go salvage enzymes somewhere else in the body to digest the thing. So instead of this being a nutritional plus for you, it acts as a negative, and it's not really good. When the apple falls off the tree, it's usually pretty ripe. This is what I love about this arrangement. The trees are pretty low to the ground. The ground is soft. When they fall, they don't bruise. And the other advantage is that, in harvesting, you see when they harvest apples all at once, not all apples on the same tree are ripe all at once. They come on at different times, and then some are in more of a shady place, so they don't ripen as quick. And so if you pick them all, you're going to get some unripe ones. The advantage of coming out at your leisure, when they fall off, they're always ripe. And so you have all the enzymes present, the full nutritional benefit that was in the apple.
Depending on what it is that you're growing, the nutrition comes with the color. And that's why, it's always been, known to eat a variety of colors and have a rainbow diet and all those kinds of things, is because there's different nutrients that are more prevalent with all those different colors. But the color doesn't ever come until it's right before it's ready to be picked. Unfortunately, the society and the culture that we live in, they are picking those things much before that nutrition is there, which is why I believe that a lot of the taste is not there. The sweetness and whatever that particular plant is prolific in. And I think that's really a big reason why people are not, big fans of eating vegetables in particular, is because of the taste.
I always say that plants that grow fast are sweet and tender. Things that grow slow are tough and bitter. When I used to grow stuff out here, they grow slow, they were tough and bitter. Now I plant stuff, man, it's up in a week, and just 3 weeks it's just totally huge and beautiful. It's just amazing the difference. Well, I haven't been formally educated and I don't have a nutritional background, but I do have taste buds. And I notice other people do too. When they come to my place, I just love to have them sample my food. And the response of everybody is, that is so sweet. It's just, and see, listen, everything that God created, I believe, is sweet.
Very sweet.
It was very sweet.
They're so sweet.
And tastes so good.
This is good. Mm-hmm. That's good.
And see if you, good. It smells good.
These blueberries are really, really good.
And my gut feeling, intuitively, is that the nutritional value of food is relative to its flavor. If it tastes good, it is good. If it doesn't taste good, it's not good. And I come back to this good God that we serve. God is a good God, and He gave all of us a sweet tooth. We desire sweet. It's just innate. He didn't give us that to frustrate us and cause us to be, put on edge and say you can't have this. He gave it to us to satisfy and bless us because He's good. And I'm finding that in my garden, everything is sweet. It is all sweet. And it's so pleasing and satisfying. And I think I'm just beginning. I'm just basically on the edge, just approaching how God made food to taste. And it's just so wonderful. And I just tell you from experience, when you eat this, I eat this stuff all the time. I just out here grazing all day long. You have this sense of just overall feeling good. You have energy. You're not stuffed. You're not bloated. You don't get tired. I'm thinking like, this is how we're supposed to live. This is just right. And it's a result of eating this live food, fresh in season. And so I can't, come from a scientific place to now analyze why this is better than store-bought, but I'm just telling you from how I feel and the flavor and the comments of everybody else according to flavor that I know this is way over the top.
Everything I've been eating is just delicious. It's amazing. It's packed with flavor. It just feels like it's the best food. It's so great.
Sweet, juicy, delicious.
This is the advantage of not watering.
Amazing.
This fennel.
Isn't it delicious?
Isn't that amazing? How sweet it is? I mean, if you could get that in
Well,
a
what I
candy-
have in my yard isn't like that.
No, because look what it's growing in.
My
This
dumb
is my
finger.
point. It's minerals that give flavor to food. And all of our soils today are so deficient because of chemical fertilizers, because of erosion,
Yeah.
that minerals aren't present. But this stuff is just totally rich.
Well, this is the answer.
In everything, man. It's like over the top awesome. What I find interesting too, back in the 60s when they would analyze potatoes, for example, they had large amounts of vitamin A, vitamin D, all kinds of things that aren't in potatoes today. And it's because the soil back then had minerals, micronutrients, things that God created, which aren't in soils today because they're just fed chemicals. And the organic material is not going back in, and so the soil is deplete from all these wonderful things, and so the food is. And we wonder today, why we have all these autoimmune diseases and things that weren't even here 50 years ago. It's not because our bodies forgot how to heal. It's because our food is not good. We're not getting proper nutrition. And basically today, people are taking supplements because they're malnutrition. They're not getting it in their food. And God created all this food for our bodies. I love Genesis, the first chapter, and I love the way it starts. And God said, fruits, vegetables, seeds, and nuts. This is what I made for your food.
It is so good to have these vegetables and the fruit, especially the figs, that make you feel, you don't need a medicine or anything. You just feed yourself with good stuff. And it has even a better flavor. When I have tasted Paul's vegetables, and like so many people, it has a sweeter flavor because it's not under stress. It grows with constant moisture, yeah. And this is the beautiful thing about it, you not only help to make, again, a layer of fertile soil for the future generations. They have good soil there. It's not depleted. But you have also a vegetable that will nourish you. And it is published, many places when you read the depleted soil isn't as good, so add your little vitamins in tablets. Forget it. If you can do this mulching with the whole tree that's, chipped up, that's the only way to go. Yeah.
In some rational future, people are going to wake up and say, this is not only a good way to eat, but it's a healthy way to live. And ultimately, when you start thinking about quality of life, if your kids are healthy and you got plenty to eat and you're leading a healthy lifestyle, man, the rest is just gravy, whatever else you do. So yeah, I think this has a significant potential to be a big part of the human future.
A lot of people mistake this place as a farm, and it's not a farm. This is a home where my family lives, where I raised my family, and I did this intentionally to have a place where they'd have a wonderful place to live, where we could grow all of our own food. And I've purposely, just because of how God's given me this really wonderful revelation of how to grow things, and His Holy